Hello everyone. It's James again. And today I want to talk about lessons learned from our narcissistic abuse. And how we can apply it to our lives. Learning. And understanding how the real world works. And part of this comes from our dialogue in the comments section of many of mine and others' videos. Because comments are made. And questions are asked that sparks one to think. But at times, it can also show one's inability to see what's going on around them. And I say this with all due respect. And it's in no way putting down the person that made this comment. Because I do understand someone might be sheltered a bit from certain experiences. Or how deep they see the world or the evil in it. It's scary to see the world for what it truly is about, sadly. And this comment was on my video, Chicken Head, where it shows a scenario of a man and a woman on a date together. And the comment reads, "Sadly, a lot of men think all women are like this. Women like this ruin it for all women." Now, first, I will say, thank you for this comment. Because I'm pretty sure it was coming from a place of being good-hearted. However, I will say, it might be coming from a place of not knowing as well. And again I say this with all due respect. And again I thank you for leaving this comment. Because it does spark good conversation. You see what happens oftentimes. When men speak up about how things are going in the world in regards to men-women relationships. There are women. Some genuine. And some not so genuine. That stand up and say. They aren't like that. Or not all women are like that. Or women like this give all the good women out there a bad name. And to that I agree. At least when it's coming from someone that is giving this statement genuinely. However, though there are some women out there that are good, it doesn't mean the good ones are the majority. And it doesn't mean the good ones aren't above the brainwashing of our society to have them act in a rebellious way against a good man. Now I say this with also wanting to mention there are some low-down evil men out there. No matter if they are narcissists that mistreat women. Or simpish men that let women treat them any old way. Just so they can be in the presence of a woman. I believe evil comes in all genders. Races. Creeds. And colors. With that being said. In regards to women. Let's look at what they are taught since they are born. They are taught if they start a fight with a boy, such as a neighborhood kid, or their brother, or cousin or whatever, they won't be held responsible. This is so powerful. They can break the little boy's toy, tie his shoelaces together so he falls on his face and cuts his lip. Or she can flat out punch him in the gut. And if he gets angry and retaliates in any way, and she starts to cry, she knows some adult is going to come running to her rescue and automatically take her side against the boy without even hearing the details about what just transpired. This is a common theme and commonly happens in many young girls' lives. Maybe it hasn't happened to a few. But it happening is more common than it not happening. This happens so much so. Comedians often use these types of scenarios in their stand-up acts. And everyone laughs really hard at these stories. And the reason why a stadium of thousands of people can laugh, and millions watching the comedy show on cable television can laugh, is because they can relate as they have been a part of such experiences. No matter if they were the boy or girl in such scenario. Now I want you to think about such a thing for a moment. What do you think happens to a girl that learns from an early age she can victimize boys and not only be seen as an innocent victim? They might even get rewarded for such behavior. That's right. This behavior will get worse and worse and worse over time. Even if they might not fit the criteria for being a full-blown narcissist or borderline. They might have some of the traits. But simply that's what society has taught them. Now what should have happened in such scenarios is for the parent to do their best to find out what really happened. And address both children accordingly. But again, sadly, this doesn't happen most of the time. Not all of the time. But most of the time. And also what happens as a result. It teaches this young boy child. This kind of thing is normal to accept. It's normal to let women manipulate them when they get older and use them as a utility. Hey, move this. Do that. Pick up this. And then when they have exceeded their usefulness of what they can offer, they are accused of doing something they never did. And then discarded. This is like mentioned recently. There are many similar themes you can find discussed in the narcissistic abuse community and the MGTOW community. Just as outlined here regarding the discard phase. And sadly, young men that see themselves as healthy, strong men accept this behavior over and over again. Simply because that's all they know. And all they have been taught by society. Now to go a step further besides these childhood scenarios that play out when they get much older for higher stakes and more real consequences. Do yourself a favor. I ask any woman on the fence about if men are really mistreated in our society. To do yourself a favor and go to your local newsstand or bookstore. And go to the magazine rack. Where there are all of the women type of magazines. Do yourself a favor and go through some of them. And read the headlines and parts of the articles if you can. And you will find they for the most part have the same themes running through them. Such as 5 steps to get a man to do whatever you want. 3 ways to trick your man into marriage. Or studies show women that cheat are happier. Find out more inside. Or how to cheat and not get caught. Or how to control you and your spouse's paycheck to your advantage. Or how to get your man to buy you the ring of your dreams. And it goes on and on. Month after month. Year after year. And guess what? These magazines are popular for a reason. Because women read them. And read them a lot, and they start reading such evil since being teenagers and at times even earlier. And in reality, these are similar to forbidden magic books. Because the women that read such information are in essence performing magic spells on their victims. When they are doing these underhanded deeds to get what they want. Now again, you might not read this. And it might not be your thing. But there are hundreds of millions that do. Otherwise these magazines wouldn't exist. Now what I want you to keep in mind. Though evil is equal between men and women. What do you think if this evil was promoted with magazine racks full of information on how to rip women off? There would be a major uproar. But when it's happening to men, it's no big deal. Then I want you to think about the source. A source I've talked about before that's linked to a specific agenda. This agenda comes from those that rule this earth. And it's an agenda that is compartmentalized. You have this industry here doing their part. And that one doing theirs. And it all adds up to a destruction of a society. Here's the hard reality. Though I say, go out there and be the best you can be. And I mean that from the bottom of my cartoon heart. That being said, the reality is we live in a slave society. A slave society without bars. And in every slave society over the course of history, the slave owners know the best way to keep control over their slaves is to turn the women against the men. And put them as their overseers. Because they know absolute power corrupts. And once women have this power over men, it will turn into the utter destruction of society. And while this society is destroying itself, some well-meaning people might say, you know, I don't think most people are like that. Instead of looking at the facts. Much like the frog that is in a hot kettle of water. Right before it boils. So I say, start questioning things. When you go to the newsstand, go with a purpose. Check out what is written and provided to our young and old to learn. And when you read it, and see it for what it is, you will say, why is this happening? And then you can start to see the trends. It's happening here. It's happening there. And before you know it, the compartmentalization becomes clear. Because that's the goal of keeping things separate. And under the radar like a magic trick or spell. Because if someone comes out and says, "Hey, I'm here to ruin your life," you won't listen to them, right? Much like if a narcissist approached you and told you what they were about. You would have nothing to do with this person, let alone listening to what they have to say. But that's not what they do. They present a nice package. Both the narcissist and those that pump such evil into our society. Think about how our dating and courtship process has changed in the last 10 years alone. And not for the better, I might add. Young boys and men aren't learning the fundamentals on how to become a man for one. And how to pick. And in a healthy way get to know a good woman as well. And young girls are taught how to manipulate boys right out of the gate. And young boys see being Mr. Nice Guy gets them nowhere. So they might start employing the same tactics their girl counterparts are using to trick young boys. So they can trick young girls. To only grow up and repeat this toxic cycle over and over. And I say this with the full understanding there are good women out there. But it's very hard to not have been influenced negatively by this society and what is in it. There are some good women that flush a good relationship down the tubes due to peer pressure. And trust me, the peer pressure that men get is different than what women get. And there are many women that can confirm this. Most good women, the minute they start a new job and are targeted by the other women in the workplace, they pose to be her friend. And in the process get details about her and her relationship out of her. And from that comes these people planting the seeds of self-doubt on purpose. So they can watch this good person flush a good relationship down the drain. And believe it's her own choice. Oh, you split things 50-50. You are a fool. You should have your man paying everything so you can save your money for yourself. And they beat this evil message in her head over and over and over until it takes hold. This is the madness that happens in our world. And ignoring it and pretending it doesn't exist is the reason why so many fall victim to it. However, if one goes through life knowing, yes, there are good people in this world, but there are a lot of opportunists. And not everyone that pretends to be my friend means me well. And though this is the case, it's nothing to be paranoid about. Let me see what happens and react accordingly. And before you know it, you are able to see the evil a lot clearer when it's staring you right in your face. And you can sidestep this evil a lot faster and better than ever before. Which leads more time for better and more productive relationships with others. Well, that's all I have on this topic for now. Again, thank you for the comment. And others that are leaving your comments as well. I hope this video has given some of you out there something to think about or consider. We are living in a real wacky place. And things aren't always as they seem. And living in dreamland thinking things are mostly good can lead us walking headfirst into an evil trap. However, being awake will help us sidestep trouble hopefully more times than not. And reach our goals at becoming the best versions of ourselves. With that being said, let's keep praying for wisdom. Let's keep praying for strength. And let's keep praying for courage. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.